the psychology and hidden history of the mirror you look into every day. You look in the mirror every single day, but you never really think about what it is you hate looking at you. You think you're seeing yourself, your face, your expression, your flaws, your mood. But what you're actually seeing is a version of you that didn't exist for most of human history. A version of you that your ancestors never knew. A version of you that's shaped how you think, how you feel, how you move through the world. And the strange part is, you don't realize how deeply this simple object has rewired your mind. Let me take you back for a moment. There was a time when nobody knew what they looked like. Not in detail. Not the way you do. People saw blurry outlines in still water, maybe a dim reflection in polished metal, but not a true image. Not a replica. Not something that revealed every pore, every insecurity, every feature you criticize. Imagine going through your whole life without knowing the shape of your own face, without comparing yourself to anyone else's, without judging your attractiveness based on angles, lighting, or symmetry. You've lived in your body without monitoring it. You felt yourself, but you didn't watch yourself. That was life before mirrors. Then everything changed. Humans invented the mirror not just as a tool, but as a new way of seeing. And with that new way of seeing came a new way of judging. Because the moment we could see ourselves clearly, we could also dislike ourselves clearly. In the beginning, mirrors were rare, expensive, magical. Only the wealthy or powerful had them. People would travel miles just to glimpse their reflection. And when they did, it wasn't vanity. It was curiosity, édouard, shock. Imagine looking into a mirror for the first time and realizing, that's me. Imagine seeing your own eyes staring back at you, as if meeting a stranger who somehow knew your thoughts. But mirrors did more than show us our faces. They changed how we understood identity. Before mirrors, your sense of self came from how people described you, your behavior, your voice, your presence, your actions. Your worth wasn't tied to how you looked because you didn't have the constant reminder of your appearance. But once mirrors became common, we shifted. Slowly, subtly, quietly. Identity moved from the internal to the external, from the felt self to the seen self. You began to judge yourself not by who you were, but by how you appeared. Think about that. The next time you lean into the mirror and inspect your imperfections, that behavior didn't come from nowhere. It's part of a psychological story that has been building for centuries. The mirror makes you hyper-aware of details other people don't even notice. The slight asymmetry in your smile, the texture of your skin, the curve of your posture. You see all of it in a way nobody else does. People see you for seconds at a time. You see yourself for hours. No wonder you pick yourself apart. No wonder you feel flaws others insist aren't there. Gaze long enough into the mirror and it becomes something else entirely. A critic, a judge, a voice that isn't yours but sounds like you. You check the mirror before leaving the house, not just to see if you look okay, but to see if you look acceptable. As if the mirror has the authority to tell you whether you deserve to be seen by the world today. You stand there waiting for its approval without realizing you're asking for permission to exist confidently. But mirrors didn't just affect individuals, they changed societies. They created beauty standards. When people saw themselves clearly for the first time, they also saw differences. And those differences quickly turned into hierarchies. Whose face was desirable? Whose wasn't? What features were worth praising? Which ones were worth hiding? Entire cultures shifted because of reflections, and now, centuries later, you inherit all those standards without even knowing where they came from. You look at your reflection and feel wrong, not because you are wrong, but because you're viewing yourself through expectations that began long before you were born. Let's talk about something you probably don't think about. Mirrors show you a reversed version of yourself. You've never actually seen your real face. You've only seen the mirror self, the one nobody else experiences. People see a face you're unfamiliar with. You live your whole life thinking you know what you look like, but you don't. You know, the flipped version, the version you've practiced expressions in, the version you've learned to critique. And sometimes when you catch yourself in a candid photo or video, you feel uncomfortable, even shocked. That's not because you look bad. It's because you're seeing your true face, the one everyone else has known all along, and because you aren't used to it, your brain tells you it's wrong. There's a psychological term for this. The mere exposure effect. The more you see something, the more familiar it feels. And the more familiar it feels, the more you like it. So the reflection you see every day becomes your standard, your comfort version of yourself. Anything that doesn't match, it feels off. This is why you dislike photos of yourself more than you dislike photos of other people. You're comparing the real you to the mirror you. Two versions of yourself that will never fully align, and that's where the deeper meaning of the mirror begins to show. Because every time you look at yourself, you're not just seeing your face, you're confronting yourself. The mirror becomes a battlefield between who you are and who you wish you were. You search it for flaws, you search it for reassurance, you search it for validation, but mirrors don't give you any of that. They only give you an image. The meaning is something you project onto it. What if, for a moment, you looked at your reflection the way people used to before mirrors existed? With curiosity instead of criticism, with wonder instead of judgment. You are seeing a human being, a face shaped by years of living, feeling, struggling, growing, a face that has survived things your younger self didn't know you'd face, a face that belongs to someone who is still here, still trying, still becoming. Maybe the mirror isn't your enemy. Maybe it's just a tool you've been taught to misuse. Maybe it's time to see your reflection not as a standard to meet, but as a story one that's still being written. And maybe if you looked at yourself through that lens, you'd realize something powerful. You've been enough this whole time. The mirror just never told you.